War around the Bay. The Susquehannocks were renowned warriors and would terrorize other tribes on the coasts of the Chesapeake and Susquehanna. The Susquehannocks fought and defeated the disorganized Delaware Indians in 1634 and forced them to become tributaries to the Susquehannocks. From this, the Susquehannock established close ties with the Dutch. Other local tribes, such as the Powhatan Indians, welcomed colonial settlers as a buffer to the Susquehannock attacks against their settlements. The Susquehannock managed to establish mostly peaceful relations with colonists until the early 1640s. In 1642, the Susquehannock went to war with the province of Maryland over early northern colonists infringing upon their land. They won a number of battles since they were backed by the Dutch, but peace wasn't struck until early 1652, where they gave up a large amount of land so they could turn their forces to the increasingly hostile north. War on all sides. It wasn't long after that the Susquehannocks and their distant family in the north were at odds. The Iroquois nation gave birth to what was the current Susquehannocks. This wasn't the first time that the Iroquois were at odds with their distant cousins. In the early 1610s, the Susquehannock had been fighting with the Eastern Confederation of the Iroquois, specifically the Mohawk, in an attempt to gain favor in the fur trade. War broke out again in earnest when the Iroquois attacked the western tribes of the Huron and neutral allies of the Susquehannock. They managed to defeat these tribes even with Susquehannock help, and it left the Susquehannock alone to fight the Iroquois. The Susquehannock also suffered a major loss in 1654 when a smallpox epidemic ravened their population. With war now in the north and with colonists in the south, along with smallpox epidemics, the Susquehannocks' power was quickly failing. Eradication. The horrible decline and eventual extinction starts after a second wave of smallpox decimates their population again in 1661, which their population was unable to handle. They became a small group and were driven from their land by the invading Iroquois. Seeking shelter, the Susquehannock appealed to the Maryland governor at the time, who granted them land in northeastern Maryland. They were met with heavy local resistance and hate. The governor promised peace but did nothing to enforce it. Eventually, an armed mob assaulted the remaining Susquehannock and their 300 warriors that were left. They were forced to flee once again. The remaining Susquehannock were forced to hide from settlers and had to make a choice: hide or continue to fight. In 1676, they were even lumped in with Bacon's Rebellion, which was an armed uprising in Virginia. This added fuel to continue targeting the Susquehannock. Execution. In 1703, the Iroquois allowed for the remnants of the old Susquehannock to return to their village of Conestoga, near modern-day York, Pennsylvania. This would be a final resting ground for a once great tribe. By 1763, there was an